It's the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even a Marvel fan.
I know. What's up with that? So, I'm Larry.
I'm Brian.
And Naked Mike's over there. Hopefully he'll talk somewhat and shoot his voice in here.
5-hour energy Mike.
5-hour energy Mike. Yeah. We're here to give you a little review of day 2 of Planet Comicon. So hope you guys hang out and enjoy with us. So day 2 started off a little earlier than day 1. We the floor opened at 10 today, so we had to be there a little earlier than we did yesterday, which was 1. And but
some of us got around quicker than others.
Some of us like to sleep. I don't know, and then I don't know. It's a bit weird. All right, so we got there, and you and I got to go to the floor early. Naked Mike had to go stand in line.
Not naked.
No, clothes on. Yeah, exactly. So yes, exactly. Went up and checked things out and got some coffee before everything started. But the floor got busy pretty quick up there today.
Oh, they opened up 15 minutes early because it was snowing and raining outside.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, it was snowing big old huge flakes for a while there in Kansas City. So yeah.
What do you know about huge flakes? You were sleeping when the huge flakes were
falling. I was awake looking. I was trying to take a picture of it, but I wouldn't take a picture of the flakes. Really good. So yes, but it didn't accumulate anything, but it did come down some flakes. It was a little chilly this morning.
Yeah, it was brisk.
Yeah, so but floor got busy quick. There was a lot going on. People were excited to be there. We went over and saw our friend Elena again, the E.M. Irvin. Check her stuff out. She's an awesome author, along with being an awesome person. And let us house some of her stuff there while we walked around. So that was cool. And I went and got a signature from who was it that I was needing? Was it Bagley? I think it was Bagley that I was needing. Yes. It was Bagley. Mm-hmm. So I went and got Bagley's signature, but that was the last of my comics to get signed. And did you go get any signatures?
I didn't go get any. I went to go get Jim Starlin, but was $10 a signature, and
none free,
and yeah,
that's going to be one of my comments, is that having to have these people get payment to sign, that's just, it's a new thing for a lot. I understand, maybe $5, especially with some of the older guys like Starlin. But when you start talking 10, then the prices go up immensely. So, and our friend Josh, who runs the Comic Cave, was up here. We ran into him.
Yeah,
he had that same issue also, that what he had planned on spending, what he budgeted on spending, it was going to be a lot more to get the same amount of comics signed because the prices have gone up.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my big requests, because they always send out a survey afterwards, and it's going to be when you start posting.
Right.
Who's going to be there? You need to post for the creators, the comic creators, what the rates are and if they'll sign anything, because they do that for the media guests. They certainly can do it for the comic guests, and they certainly should know that ahead of time. Well, it should be easy to get.
And some of the creators, and understandably so, don't mind personalizing it and giving it to you for free.
Right.
If it's personalized, because that means you're probably not turning around selling it on eBay.
But I only saw 2 of those. And that was Bagley and
McNiven?
McNiven, yeah.
McNiven. So Steve McNiven. So, but if they're doing that, then let us know. Or if there's a limit on how many they're going to sign for free. Or if they're not sending anything free, if you post that would be helpful. I agree.
It's just like I was saying with Patrick Gleason. Was the fact that last year he had signed anything you brought up. This year it was 1 free.
Right.
Just knowing that would have been nice, because I may have only brought 2 comics instead of the... Now, granted, 7 sounds outrageous, but I had a first and second issue of a lot of his runs that I would love to have gotten signed, and I'm not going to pay $5 each for more than that.
Right. You and I know Naked Mike's in the same position. We're not trying to get the signatures to put them on eBay. We're trying to get the signatures because we honestly...
Not until another 25, 30 years when I'm needing money for my nursing home bills.
But, well, hopefully you get that figured out so you don't have to use that for that. But we know that's not the goal. The goal is not for us to make money off their signatures. And some people it is. And some of these people in the past have brought...
We're collectors, too, which is the difference.
Right. Have brought in just stacks of stuff for each person to try to sign, monopolizes their time. The other thing that I've seen in the past is, here's how many issues you can have signed in this setting. You can get back in the line and come back.
Which Amanda Connor's done that before.
Right.
Get 3, go to the back of the line.
Right, and that's fair. I mean, if I want a bunch signed and I want her to sign them, then that's a fair way to go.
Right, because you're not keeping anyone from getting
because because in the past, C2E2, I remember I got behind a guy that had a stack like this, and so the author or the artist was trying to sign them as quick as he could because there was a line there, but it would be nice to put a limit there. So I understand that, but again, if you know these things are going to be true of your creators, then post that ahead of time so people are prepared.
Well, I think that's like Rick Cho was willing to sign anything you had last year.
Yeah.
And someone brought him this huge stack, and he was like, looked at him and was like, come back in about 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
And so he would sign when no one was there. He'd sign a few. He'd do a little drawing.
Right.
But if anyone else walked up, he would stop signing the pile and sign yours.
And so that's a fair way to go. Also, I think. And, as fans, most of the time we're not looking to try to earn an extra buck from these guys. We just, the idea that we get to meet the people that write the stuff or draw the stuff that we like.
And you get your signature on the book that they sign.
Right, because that makes it pretty special. So, so anyway, that's just a little side note with that.
Other than that, it was a good day.
Yeah, it was. It was busy. There were a lot of great cosplayers there. I got a picture of a lot of them. Some of the problem when it's a busy day like Saturday always is if the crowd is thick, you can't just stop in the middle of the crowd and get a picture. And sometimes you can't even chase down the person to get a picture with them because it's just the crowd just won't allow it. So that's the challenge, but that's always true on Saturdays.
Sometimes a tray of porgs just doesn't stop for you.
There is going to be a picture that will be available out there with a tray of porgs. It was Darth Vader with a tray of porgs.
Porgishmord.
Yes. What he said. Hashtag what he said. Anyway, but so there was a lot of cool stuff there. Did spend quite a bit of time in panels today. I went to the DC panel. I did write up an article on that. You're more of a DC guy. What did you think of that panel?
That one was interesting. It was Patrick Gleason, it was Doug Mahnke, and it was Amanda Connor.
Yep.
And, well, first thing is, and it makes sense now because they've been working together on comics, because you see their names together, was that Doug Mahnke's been in the business for 25, 30 years now. And
he doesn't look that old.
No, but funny part is one of the very first comics I ever collected was a Dark Horse comic that he did the cover for.
Right.
That kind of odd. But anyway, what I was surprised at was that Patrick Gleason was his assistant.
Right.
And was actually finishing pages for him.
Right.
He would rough them out for certain books, and Patrick Gleason would be would do the finishing stuff. And you're like, oh, this makes so much sense now that you see them working together a lot more.
Well, and I thought it was a really interesting relationship because they said that even today, Patrick will send his stuff over there and let him look at it first. Yeah, what do you think about this? Yeah. Which is kind of a really cool mentor relationship. Well,
and they at least they did. They have been sharing a studio together.
Right. That's true.
Patrick Gleason almost shot out Doug Mahnke's eye
to
make him cry.
One of the stories that they were telling, shot him with a Nerf gun in the eye. But
well, and that came up after people had admitted that they cried after reading some of the issues of comics that Gleason had either written or drew or whatever.
Yes, that's true.
And so I thought it was interesting because you always used to hear about the house styles,
right?
And John Byrne was the house style of Marvel Comics for a long time, and you had Perez and Byrne kind of setting a house style over in DC.
Yeah. Right.
And then you got to the 90s and you had McFarlane and Jim Lee and those guys setting the style over in Marvel and
until they went to Image.
Yeah. But what's interesting is these three creators work mostly for DC, but they said one of the great things about comics right now is that there's not really a house style.
Right.
The big deal is making a comic book be unique in your own style, and that's why you get a bit more cartoony look of Amanda Conner.
Right.
You get a more realistic look with the little bit of work that Perez does, but Jimenez and some of those guys,
right,
and even Mankey, and then somewhere in between with the Patrick Gleasons
right,
and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I appreciate over in Marvel the the Hawkeye book was completely different than anything else on the stands.
And some of the comics were trying to duplicate some of that, but and weren't really successful doing it. But you're right. It allowed them to have some room breathing and doing something different. So yeah, I agree.
Even books like Batman, with Tom King writing every issue, but using different artists.
Right.
It's really cool that the different stories get a different flavor.
Right. That's true.
You get Tom King working with Michael Janin. One very realistic, try to be photo realistic in some of the aspects, and then you turn around and you get him working with Lee Weeks, which is more of a throwback to Mazzucchelli that did Daredevil and did Batman Year One, and is more like what they did in the Hawkman series. That style.
Right.
It's a little bit more raw, and that's just really cool because you can pick and choose what you want each individual story to look like, and you don't have to have the same artist all the way through.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really interesting panel. There's a lot of humor in that panel also.
Yeah.
Again, Amanda Conner didn't talk a lot. Now she had some really cool things to say. She just isn't. I don't think she's as outgoing as a lot of her other people there, but she
not as much as her husband.
Definitely not as much as her husband. No. But still awesome. I mean, Amanda Conner and her covers and stuff are really cool. So
right. And she's not doing Harley Quinn anymore. Is she doing a regular book right now?
Well, she's doing the covers for Captain Marvel, at least the first three. I've got the first three of the new Captain Marvel series. I don't know if she's just doing some covers for people, but I don't know if she's got a book or not.
Well, we found out that her and her husband Jimmy Palmiotti pitched a new Legion of Superheroes book, and they were told, no, someone else has already got it, which we pretty much know from Doomsday Clock and Batman that the Legion's out there. We're just waiting for them.
And they're probably going to blow up all the Earths again. And
probably, but you've got Saturn Girl floating around, and you've got Phantom Girl's grandmother over in the Terrifics, and some of those things going on.
And as most of the things in DC that I have really clung to over the years were team books of different decades. And I was really big into the Teen Titans in the 80s, but the other things I was really into was the Legion set way in the future, and either the JSA or All-Star Squadron in the past. Those were the books that really gravitated me, and we don't have either one of those available right now. There's no Legion, there's no JSA, or
it's all his fault,
or All-Star Squadron. I would love to see a reboot of the All-Star Squadron. Yeah. That to me would be fantastic. I would love to see how they do that. I love that original run in the 80s. I don't know if they would do that or not, or probably just make a JSA book, but an All-Star Squadron would be really cool.
Well, there was an article I read that was Green Lantern is the most important character in the DC universe right now, because the fact that Dr. Manhattan killed Alan Scott in the past not only caused the JSA not to appear,
right,
but it caused the Legion of Superheroes to disappear.
Right. And if the JSA doesn't appear, then the All-Star Squadron, which is an offshoot, doesn't appear, which makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting story.
But it's interesting because, and going back to the Silver and Bronze Age, the JSA actually inspired the Justice League. So then you have that. Right. So, but it's
and that's post-crisis, though.
You're right, because before
pre-crisis
they were on a different Earth, right? But the Flash, I know at least, was reading Flash comics.
Well, that's true.
So
Earth 2 characters were in Earth 1 comics, and Earth 1 characters were in Earth Prime.
Right. Exactly.
Which is where we are.
Right. At that point. Yeah. But not. Earth Prime changed to something else. I don't know. I get confused with that. I always liked the old mythos of the different Earths. I always preferred that. So, but that's kind of off the subject of where we're going, but that's all right. That was a good
but and then we went to the Tom Welling, Dean Cain, Michael Rosenbaum.
We did that after we saw the Fonz.
Oh, that's right. We saw
Henry Winkler before we did that. We went to 2 sessions back to back.
The Fonz gave Naked Mike some advice that he should move out of his uncomfortable zone and into his comfort zone right here between Larry and Mike, or Larry and Brian,
or even on the end.
He's not listening to the Fonz, and it's just sad.
I know,
because the Fonz's hair is perfect.
It is. So, hey, Naked Mike, how's it going over there?
Over here, amazing.
He's near the heater because it's a little cold in here.
So anyway, but the Henry Winkler he spent the first 15 minutes kind of giving it a talk.
Well, it was weird because I felt like we were in high school again, sitting in the bleachers listening to.
Well, it was good. Everything
it was great.
It was very good.
Motivation. It was a very interesting motivational speech. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
And interestingly, because I've never seen this at a con. He didn't have a moderator with him at all.
Not at all.
It was he just came out and did his thing and did the talk.
And then went to questions.
And he was very funny with the questions. The monologue wasn't so funny just because it was trying to hit home about what his life was like and then how he kind of came out of that. How his family wasn't supportive of him and how he had a learning disability and how
that he didn't know about until he was 31.
Well, and I'm the same way. I did not realize I had dyslexia until I was in my 30s. I knew I had attention issues and figured that one out pretty quick, but I didn't realize I had dyslexia until then. So I'm with him there. But sometimes you don't know what your learning disability is. But 1 in 5 kids have a learning disability of some sort was what he said, and that's probably about right. So, but very motivational. That reach for what you want to do. You got to do the work, but then you also have to. You have to believe in yourself and take those steps outside your comfort zone.
And interestingly, the former teacher in me, disagreed a little bit with some of his things. I mean, I'm not talking about, I wanted to stand up and prove to him that he does use algebra in his life.
He said geometry.
But then he also said algebra later.
Later he mentioned that, but that was kind of a side thing. But he focused on geometry.
Interestingly,
then he had to take 5 times? Is that what he said? He had to take it
4 times.
4 times before he graduated.
And he didn't get to graduate with everyone else because he didn't get it until the summer after his senior year.
Right. And you kind of wonder if they just passed him. He said he got it with a D.
Yeah.
Passed it with a D.
And I understand where he's coming from, but he made the comment about you should let kids learn what they want to learn. And as a former teacher,
I think it was more how they need to learn, wasn't it?
Well, but he was also implying that, find out whether a student's going to need algebra. And I've always had the theory that this idea that you want to find that it drives me up the wall that kids today supposedly have to know what they want to do when they're an adult in the 5th grade. And then we start them on a track to do that kind of thing. And that bothers me because high school's supposed to be a place where you get this large, don't take this as the wrong thing, liberal education. That's what that word means, is we teach you a whole bunch of stuff so you can figure out what you want to do. And all we do is we throw you into a trap. Right. And so this idea that, well, I don't have to learn algebra because I'm never going to use it is wrong, because you learn a lot more than just how algebra works by taking an algebra class.
Sure. A well-balanced education. Now, I think there's something to be said, especially as you get into high school, your junior and senior year, taking those classes like VOTEC, if that's something you're more geared towards.
It is absolutely insane that the state of Missouri thinks that every student needs Algebra 2. No. But there's at least stuff you can get out of a geometry class, learning how to be logical in your life and stuff like that.
If it's taught right. Well, which is always the case, but
which means you take it with my wife.
Right. Well, that would be true. So sign up to take all the classes with his wife. That would mean you have to move to Aurora,
Move to Aurora and be a hound dog.
Anyway,
sidebar. You know the hound dog has a name?
No.
Yes, the hound dog has a name. And funny, my daughter called me this afternoon or this morning to find out what the name of the dog was. The dog's name is Winston.
There you go.
So the dog, the don't kick our dog, that's Winston.
Little bit of trivia, if you happen to be in the Springfield, Missouri area, or
I'm full of trivia. Most people just say I'm full of it, but
he is full of trivia. We do quite well at trivia nights. We had Keith in there. We had Jill in there. We had some other people in there. We do pretty well.
We do.
Until they get to a load of sports questions. And if it's the right sports questions, I know the answers, or he knows the answers on certain things. But if it's other things, then we miss it altogether. So, but yeah. So, but Henry Winkler then, when he got questions, was very funny, and they asked him at one point. I forget how the question was worded exactly, but was there something in one of the shows that you've done that's become a social, not norm, social construct that people use? And the person was referencing, at least at some level, the jumping the shark thing. And Henry Winkler came back and said, well, I've done one twice. Nobody else has done. I've jumped the shark twice, which was hysterical because everyone laughed, knowing that that's where the phrase comes from, with his character Fonzie having literally jumped the Fonz. Which, if you actually look at it from rating wise, it went 4 or 5 more years. Yeah. And the ratings on it were really good up until the last season.
But that's where most the big stars started leaving. He was about the only person left.
If you look at it rating wise, that's not where it fell apart. Now plot wise and story wise, it may have. So, but
I think it all fell apart when the older brother disappeared.
So you're saying, well, the older brother, there was like 3 different guys that played the older brother.
Chuck? Is that what
Chuck,
his name? Chuck, the older brother.
Because he's used. At one point, Chuck goes off to college, and Richie goes over and visits. I mean, so you've got early on Richie playing basketball with him, and then you've got going off to college, and there was some other thing where he showed up, and there were 3 different actors that played him, and never seen again after like the middle of season 2. So I don't know, but you people probably don't care about history.
We're going off the
Happy
rails
days
tonight.
We did, because we're talking about the Fonz. But Henry is very funny. And then we did follow up by saying for the Superman Lex Luthor panel with
2 Clarks, Lex, and a pizza place.
They was talking about making, if they did a restaurant, and how to avoid DC from
Lex
suing
and Clark's, and they were going to do LEXX, and I said they should spell Clark with an E, and they
right
be in the
or
free
with a K.
Okay.
Anyway, but then they said 2 Clarks, a Lex, and a pizza place, which is hysterical. So,
which I forgot how much Michael Rosenbaum is completely the opposite of the Lex Luthor character.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know if you were there, but at work early on they decided to have afternoon getaways, and each of the teams got to go see a movie.
No,
they paid
I
for
did that.
Yeah. Were you on the team?
Yes.
When we went to go see down the river or up the river or whatever it was?
Yes.
And Michael Rosenbaum's in that, and it was really funny. And then, of course, what's the one movie where they dress up as women because they're trying to get into college and they join a sorority?
Oh, yeah.
Boys.
What was that, Naked Mike?
Sorority boys.
Sorority Boys, yeah.
Thank you, Naked Mike.
The disembodied voice over there. That's a really funny movie, too.
Yeah, right.
And you get him in front of all those people, and he really becomes almost... who did you compare him to?
Who was it that I said? Because it wasn't Jim Carrey. It was Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
very Adam Sandler-esque.
He picked up his microphone and went out to the people asking questions because they wouldn't talk into the microphone, and
he was constantly bad-mouthing the moderator, who knew him very well, so they were joking around.
Then all of a sudden we're like, oh, there's children here because
they started saying a few
S-bombs and F-bombs and...
Yeah, right. But he was hysterical. He had a lot of energy, and it's really funny to watch him go, because he basically stole the show.
And who knew that Tom Welling was shy?
Yeah.
He's Superman. How is the actor who plays Superman shy?
Maybe he's not a people person. Maybe he's not shy. I don't know. But it was interesting, and it was good to see Dean Cain. I really like Dean Cain. Always liked him as Superman and Lois and Clark.
Well, he's been on 3 different shows about the L family.
Yeah, right.
You know, he's been on Lois and Clark, and he was on Smallville for at least 1 or 2 episodes, and then he's been on Smallville, and
he's been on Supergirl.
Or, I'm sorry, Supergirl.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
As
the dad.
As the dad, right. That's missing.
The Earth dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, he's gone missing again because he's working with Argus.
Right.
And all
Argus.
Don't ask us what that stands for.
So, but yeah, I really enjoyed them. That was a really fun panel, and again, Rosenbaum really stole the show. It really kind of like, okay, I really like.
Yeah, the host just completely sat back in his chair and let it go.
I don't know there's anything you could do to stop him. Okay, it's kind of like the old football thing. You can't hope to stop him. You can only hope to contain him, and that's pretty much what you're like. These parameters, stay within this.
Keep him from scoring too many times.
Right, and try to keep him from dropping F-bombs. So. So.
But we laughed our heads off in that. We did. That was really.
That was a really good panel.
At one point, they brought the lights up, and they suddenly realized that entire ballroom was full of people.
Right.
They didn't realize how full it was because the lights were in their eyes.
Right. Which shocks me that they would be surprised by that, just because I would think, you're at a comic book convention with fans of pop
and maybe
culture.
They're just that good at actors that they seem
maybe that may be true, because
But yeah, that was really cool.
So walked the floor. We saw several different booths. Looked at comic books today. A lot of cosplay stuff again, and
5-hour energy.
An interesting mixture of 5-hour energy
and a cosmic IPA.
Yeah, which was they were giving out samples, and so
that
free samples are hard to say no. So whatever. So
So anyway,
but we had a good time. It was a really good day. Very tiring as usual. Tomorrow is day 3, which is usually the most tiring day because it's affecting us. We're lack of sleep and doing a lot of walking and a lot of talking.
Some of us don't stay up till 2 in the morning.
I did not stay up till 2 in the morning.
He tried to stay up till 2 in the morning.
No, not last night. Not last night. Typically, yes. But no, not last night. Last night I was trying to write an article.
Cried.
I cried. last time I started writing an article, and I was so tired.
Sounded like you were going to say you cried. No. He cried himself to sleep.
Well,
did you hear him sobbing, Naked Mike?
Naked Mike was awake when I went to bed, by the way, so...
You're torn.
Anyway, so afterwards we had a really good time after the convention, though. The convention
we did.
Ended.
The beer kitchen was good.
We went to a place called the Beer Kitchen. It was a full restaurant. It wasn't just a bar sort of thing. We went there because one of the people that we went with, she has a food allergy, and so this place actually had stuff to so she doesn't get sick and go to the hospital. So we're all grateful for that. We had a good time with a group of people that we're friends with, and had fun afterwards. Not just come home and
they sat me beside the quietest person they possibly could.
They did well, yeah.
And if you know anything about me, quiet I ain't.
Well, and I was over there by Elena and Keith, so I was not in the quiet section. Not at all. In fact, it was funny because I've never seen Elena as quiet as she was. She would say things, and she was humorous, but I'm like, wow, the rest of us, I think, are just kind of overshadowing her tonight. Plus, she was on the sales floor. She was trying to sell her book from, it started before 10 a.m., for those of us that got to go on the floor a little early, to 7 o'clock, and she was on all day, so she was tired. Day 2 of that, so I know that's true too. But no, that was a lot of fun. We had a good time. I think day 2 was definitely successful of a day at Planet Comicon.
Yeah.
Anything else to
I
add?
discovered the Tom Strong comic books. That Alan Moore created. He's only reason I knew about him was because he's a character they reintroduced in The Terrifics, which was quite controversial because it was another Alan Moore character that they brought in. But I found some comics from them, so I'm going to check it out. I was fascinated that I'm going through these comics and I'm seeing Jeff Johns writing an issue here, and other famous artists, Art Adams and stuff, doing artwork here and there, and I'm like, and I got them for $1, so.
See, in $1 with artists and creators like that's amazing. So, the controversial part of that is that Alan Moore has basically said he doesn't want anybody to touch these characters. He doesn't like people messing with the universe that he created, and DC owns those characters, so they're going to say
he created them under America's Best Comics, which was a shoot off of Wildstorm.
Right.
And then when Wildstorm got in financial trouble, they were bought by DC.
Yep.
So then suddenly these comics are now sort of owned by DC, and there's been a couple of the characters, Promethea and someone else they've introduced, which of course has certainly made Alan Moore very happy.
And Alan Moore is a great creator. He has come up with some really amazing things. He's very eccentric and different, and you get the feeling that he's the guy that's out shouting at the kids to get off his lawn.
Right. And Alan Moore, one hand is Watchmen, The Killing Joke, the V for Vendetta, and on the other hand is the twisted fairy tales about the females.
Oh yeah,
Snow White and that, and you're like, I mean, so that's why I'm a little interested in this Tom Strong, to find out what you get out of that story and that character.
He's open for the twisted stuff.
Well, and I'm sure the other reason is I'm sure DC wouldn't have introduced them if there was a chance that someone sees this character and goes out and gets the comics and goes, what? Half this comic is naked people or whatever,
Right.
And
Naked Mike might like that.
At least half of it.
Yeah, half of it. Yeah.
By the way, we did decide that we're going to have a Naked Mike approved seal created with Naked Mike's face, or maybe not his face, but
cheeks either way.
See, that's what you get for not getting over here.
Yeah, because if you would have been on, yeah.
Kids these days.
I know. So,
try to raise them right. And...
yeah, all they do is get naked and disobey.
Tried to raise him for the last, how many years have I known you? A lot.
A lot?
Enough that he should know better.
that when we say come join us and he doesn't do it, that there's going to be repercussions at some level. So
consequences and repercussions.
Yes. And we're not talking about a band with repercussions.
I don't think that word means what
no, probably not. Well, when you
don't you start with irregardless.
You broke your drum head and then you had repercussions, right?
Oh. Wow.
Or you couldn't.
Remember, we ate at the beer kitchen.
I did not have any beer at the beer kitchen. All right, so I think that's enough rambling for tonight. So I'm Larry.
I'm Brian.
And over there's Nick and Mike. Have a great evening.
Naked Mike.
Naked.
Clarity when you say your words.
Naked
Mike.
Naked Mike.
How many times we can say Naked Mike before we get off the video? Bye, guys.